So the game between Team USA and Belgium was a complete mess. If you watched the game, Team USA was pretty sloppy. They had 16 turnovers, and in that third quarter, they were struggling to generate good looks. You had at times Kelsey Plum bring the ball up the court. You had Sabrina Ionescu, and you had Jewel Lloyd bring the ball up. The problem is these are scoring first guards. They're not point guards. So they're playing out of position. Chelsea Gray, as you see here, she had 3 assists. She played, I believe, 9 minutes, didn't make a field goal. And if it wasn't for Breanna Stewart and Asia Wilson, Team USA is not winning this game. In fact, they're not going to win the gold medal without Asia Wilson and Breanna Stewart being the best players on the basketball court. Even though Asia Wilson did have 7 turnovers, a lot of that was just, in my opinion, she's getting passes from people who aren't good as point guards because that's not their natural position. So when you look at the construction of this roster, the selection committee did a terrible job putting this roster together because Chelsea Gray can't move. She's still getting back into game shape because of her foot injury, because she had that injury in the WNBA finals last year. And you bring her on this team trying to get in game shape. That could be a disaster. And the reason why I have some concerns about this is because going forward, there is a blueprint out for Team USA now. Belgium isn't the most talented team, but when you watch the game, there was a lot of ball pressure. They were forcing the scoring first guards to make plays and make tough passes, and they were unable to. There was 16 turnovers in this game. If you watch the third quarter, it was a disaster trying to get good looks. You saw Breanna Stewart try to drive the hole, but it was just not in rhythm with the offense. Asia Wilson tried to get baskets as well, but the rest of the team just doesn't look right. And this is why roster construction is so important, because if you only have one point guard out there who knows how to orchestrate an offense, but if you have that point guard dealing with a foot injury and still getting into game shape, it is one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. Even if you don't want to put Caitlin Clark on this roster, why not put Natasha Cloud or Skylar Diggins? Because they are vets and they have experience. And Chelsea Gray can't do everything out there. So I just don't get the idea of this roster. It reminds me of the Phoenix Suns, where they have Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. We saw what happened in the playoffs. They had a hard time generating good looks and running an offense because when you have people playing out of position and trying to be something they're not, it's going to turn into a disaster. The Suns struggled in the fourth quarter executing because they didn't have a point guard to run their offense. And for the women's team, if they get to the finals and they play France in a pressurized environment, because there's going to be a sellout crowd for the France team because it's in their home country. And when you don't have someone like Caitlin Clark to get the USA fans there, there's going to be some concerns. Thank God they have Asia Wilson and Breanna Stewart, because I'm telling you right now, if Stewart or Wilson were not on this team, they are not going to win the gold medal. There is no doubt about it. They are the best 2 players on this team. I'm sure some people are going to say, well, they won by 13 points. So why are we overreacting? If you didn't watch the game and didn't see how sloppy they were in that third quarter, how they just had trouble just getting clean looks. The passes were just all over the place. There were constant turnovers. They were not crisp. And this is why I stress the importance of having multiple playmakers, people who can pass and make good plays. So if you're a women's international team right now looking to compete with the Team USA, you need to put ball pressure on their guards and force them to make tough passes, especially if they're not used to that, because they're used to isolation, getting to the cup, getting into the mid-range, or just hitting those step-back threes. So they're going to be in uncomfortable positions where, yes, they would like to make the right reads and make good passes, but that's not their strength. So if you have them playing out of position and you get them racking up the turnovers and Chelsea Gray isn't moving well, that is going to be a disaster. And there's going to be a lot of concerns if that does take place. Now, I think defensively, they've been phenomenal in these Olympics. They've been really good about packing the paint, making sure the opponent has a hard time getting clean looks in the paint, because the sheer size of a Asia Wilson, Breanna Stewart, a Brittany Griner is tough to score on. But if you can turn them over and score in transition, that is going to put pressure on Team USA to score. And if they're unable to generate good offense, that is going to be problematic, because you need to have a point guard who can orchestrate things, who can put your players in position to succeed. So the selection committee has done a poor job of putting this roster together. I don't understand the logic of, yes, you want your vets, but why not have more point guards on this team? Why not have more playmaking out there? Because if they run into a situation, let's just say Stewart or Wilson struggle to score the basketball. They're not shooting the ball well. They're playing good defense, but they can't generate any offense. That game is going to be tight, and they might not win. Now, maybe you try to put Alyssa Thomas in those situations because she's a better passer and try to get her running plays for the offense. So Kelsey Plum, Sabrina Ionescu can play a different role. I don't know. But right now, this is a concern for me. Just from an objective point of view, there has to be some concerns here. You can't look at that game and go, yeah, Team USA is just going to cruise through the Olympics. I don't know. Unless Kelsey Plum is going to go off for like 15 to 20 points, or Jewel Loyd's been pretty solid, or Jackie Young is going to give you more. It just doesn't seem like it's going to happen. I don't understand why they don't play Kalia Cooper, but hey, this is what they want to do. And it was so funny after the first game. They were saying, oh, it's Chelsea Gray, point guard, yada, yada, yada. Now what do you got to say? She can't move, and when you are getting over an injury, you're going to have some inconsistencies throughout each game. And if she's not able to generate more assists, put her team in a better position to score, and orchestrate that offense and make sure things are organized, this could end up being a major flop. Now, let me be clear. I want them to win. I expect them to still figure things out because I think Asia Wilson and Breanna Stewart are so talented that it's going to help them get over their flaws because they are so good out there. If you're going to fix this situation, I think the biggest thing is putting Alyssa Thomas in situations where she can play make, where you can run sets. If there's a way you can fix this situation, have Alyssa Thomas run plays for the USA. Let her orchestrate things, play make, because she's good at that. Play to your strengths. I know she's not the point guard, but she plays like a point center. So put her at the top of the key, run cuts, and run offense. That way, you're not stagnant. Of course, this would be a lot easier if you had a Skylar Diggins, if you had a Natasha Cloud or a Caitlin Clark on this roster, just to take the pressure off of Chelsea Gray. When you're trying to conduct a roster, you have to have a backup point guard. You can't just go out there and say, oh yeah, let's just put it all on Chelsea Gray, especially when she's coming back from that foot injury and not able to move as well as she used to. Thank God Breanna Stewart and Asia Wilson is on this team because, to be honest, they probably wouldn't make it out of the group stage. So yeah, I'm curious to see what they do going forward with adjustments. Hopefully they can figure out ways to run a better offense so they can generate consistent looks on a regular basis. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Team USA's performance against Belgium. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.